guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. Just went to go see As It Is, their headliner for OK. So I will be having a show thoughts on that, as well as Grayscale's set. I wasn't able to get As It Is or the other bands on the set, just because I wanted to kind of enjoy them. Grayscale is kind of a local band to where I live, so I wanted to get video of them, but I should have gotten video of the other bands. It's just hindsight's 2020. But I should be having videos of that very soon. And definitely go check out our other stuff. We posted a bunch of album reviews, Newfound Glory, and then we posted 2 interviews, The Horcrux and Self-Titled. So check those out if you haven't already. Also, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does go a long way. So tonight, we're going to be talking about Lilac Lungs' new record, Eventide. So, for those of you who haven't heard of Lilac Lungs, it is composed of Emily, who does vocals, Johnny, who plays guitar and does backing vocals, Matt plays drums, and Terrence does bass. They are a band from around the Detroit, Michigan area. I actually did an interview with them not too long ago, so definitely check that out. I'll make sure to leave a link at the end card of the end of this video. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Catalyst Publicity Group for sending me this record early. It's always cool to get music a little bit early and just getting my overall thoughts on it and kind of sitting on it for a little bit longer and just kind of really getting my thoughts in a cohesive manner. So thank you guys for that, and I hope I continue to be working with you guys. So definitely check out Catalyst Publicity Group if you so choose, if you're in a band. So I'm gonna go through each of the tracks. Definitely some of my favorites, what I think could be different. I'm going to do pros and cons at the end, and then I'm going to give a final rating for the entire record. So we'll get into the first track, which is Welcome to the Fallout. This is one of my favorite tracks off the record. I'm really digging that sort of spacey, ambient vibes that are in the intro track, the intro of this track. I think it's really awesome. I think it's definitely interesting and something that I particularly don't listen to a lot of. So I thought for me, just right off the bat, that was something that I picked out initially. And it just has this sort of sound that just drags you in and captures your attention. So really enjoyed that, considering that this is the opener track. Also really digging Emily's vocals. It just has this sort of fullness to it. And it just has, she can just manipulate her voice to be really full sounding and just immersive, but at the same time she has those songs where she can be very glassy, very eerie in terms of vocal styling and stuff like that. So in terms of that, she's definitely well-rounded in that regard. And then I also enjoyed Johnny's backing vocals as well. I think it adds a nice balance between his vocals and Emily's vocals, and I think that combination just sounds really awesome, not only in this track but just in a lot of the tracks in general. But really digging the piano mix with electronic elements. I think it's just a cool sort of element and sort of piece of this track and a lot of the tracks on this record. To me, it was kind of like an eye-opener for me, because I don't typically listen to this type of music, so I really enjoy just getting immersed into this sort of sonic landscape that they've created. So really enjoy that. I think it's a great opener track, and Matt on the drums is just killing it, especially on this track. I really loved just the way he added like his own little flair to it, as well as just embellishing on the whole track itself. So really enjoyed that one. So we'll move into track number 2, which is Next to Nothing. This is the first single that they released, and it's another one of my favorites. Really loving the addition of guitars on this track. I think it's just a solid addition to the track. Really loving Emily's vocals. I think it really definitely pulls you in, and just the overall range that she has is just incredible. So this is one of those songs where it kind of highlights her vocals and what she does best. So really enjoy that. The production on this track is absolutely killer. I think it just adds this sort of depth, and like I was saying earlier, adds this sort of sonic landscape to the tracks. So like even if you listen to it one time through, I feel like you won't get a lot out of it. You got to listen to it multiple times, and you can pick out little different things that you may not have picked up on the last time. So, and I know for myself, just listening to this record of like a ton of times through, I was able to pick out different things every time I went through the track. So I thought that was definitely cool, and something unique to them for sure. Also enjoyed just the smooth sounds of this track. I just feel like it's very cohesive, very thought out. It feels like kind of just different from Welcome to the Fallout. This one just feels a little bit more mellow, I guess, in that regard. But I really enjoy that. It's also just has this great song structure, as I mentioned earlier. So I really enjoy that. And then the ambience just doesn't overshadow the whole track. That's what I initially thought when I was just listening to this record. I was like, man, there's just a lot of production on here. And while it is good, it's just like, when is too much? When is enough too much? But I feel like they've found that great balance between too well, not enough, and too much. I feel like they just mix it very well. It's not overbearing whatsoever, and I really enjoy that about not only this track but a lot of tracks off this record. So we'll move it into track number 3, which is "Uh-Oh." This is another single they have that they've released as well, and it's also another one of my favorites. I enjoy the happy sort of poppy vibes of this track. It feels very radio friendly, I would say, more or less than a lot of the other tracks on this record. I would say this one and another one in particular that I'll mention a little bit later on had this sort of radio presence to them. Really enjoying the guitar riff of this track. I think it kind of leads the pack in terms of, when you listen to a song, at least in my opinion, some things pick out more than others. And I would absolutely say that the guitar on this track is kind of at the forefront, which I really enjoy because I am a guitar player myself. So I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the addition of piano again resurfacing as well, and the acoustic guitar adding on as well. I think they're just great touches to an overall great track. It just adds this different layer, different sort of feel to the track, which I really enjoy. Also enjoyed the vocal chanting in the bridge. I think it's very interesting and very cool at the same time. It felt very much like, I want to say it felt very much like a Disney movie, ironically enough, very reminiscent of maybe like Lion King or something like that, which is really odd, but at the same time, I think it works very well, and I think it works in their favor, certainly. So I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed, again, Johnny's vocals paired with Emily's vocals. I think they just mesh obviously very well together. So really enjoy that. I also, again, I think this is just a radio friendly track. I could definitely hear this, if I'm driving my car and I don't have, like a CD or like my Zune or whatever playing, I could imagine this song being on the radio. Absolutely. So in that regard, certainly something positive. And I really love that the bass, I like that Terrence kind of carries the verses in this track. I think that it's cool that they all have their own sort of things that make them unique, but also kind of bring them together as well. So I think this track is one of the more solid tracks on the record, and that's why I absolutely consider it to be one of my favorites. So we'll move it into track number 4, which is "Fallen for Your Face." Really enjoying Emily's range as well. I know I've been saying that a lot, but until you listen to a lot of these tracks, it just blows your mind. I think to me, just initially listening to it, I was just like, wow, she's got a really powerful voice. So I really enjoyed that. And just the way she like manipulates her voice throughout the album and just this track in general, it's just incredible. So props to you, Emily. You did an excellent job. Again, I'm really loving the electronic elements. I like how they fuse, I guess, more standard instruments, like bass, drums, and guitar with more like synthy sort of stuff with, pianos, stuff of that nature. I know it's nothing new, but to me, in the way they do it, I think it's a little bit different in my opinion. So, and I also enjoyed the back and forth between Johnny and Emily. I think it's just a nice pairing. Again, I've been mentioning it a lot, but I certainly think that the mesh between them two is just really awesome, and it sounds great. I wouldn't say that this is particularly one of my favorite tracks off the record, but I think it's a solid track nonetheless. All right, so we'll move into the next track, track number 5, which is Us Versus Ourselves. I'm really loving the odd intro with the vocals. I think it's like a octave below. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering things correctly. But I really like that really odd sort of vocal intro. I think it was definitely something for just being remembering it right now. It's just something really odd that I liked. I really like the incorporation of electronics, like I've mentioned a few times throughout this review, but I think it's something to note. Certainly, I think that a lot of these songs have this strong electronic influence to them, so be expected to get more songs like Next to Nothing as opposed to more or less than Uh-Oh, I would say. I feel like they err on the side of more electronic parts, not anything like dubstep or anything like that, but I think they have those sort of elements that are a little bit more reoccurring. But really liking that Emily has those sort of tender moments to her vocals, especially in this track. I like those softer sort of, I guess, glassy sort of vocals that she has. I think it's just very solid. It just kind of adds to the overall mood when you're listening to electronic parts and you're listening to her voice. I think they just mesh very well together. And Really liked that the bridge was really awesome. It has a sort of softness to it. It just This track was just very soft, but towards the end, it really kind of picks up and explodes. Um, and it just has this sort of moment where it's just vocals and piano, and then it just absolutely just goes off. So, really enjoy that. And then the group vocals at the end was really awesome. And then just the last vocal run. Once you get to this track, it will just blow you away. It absolutely blew me away, and this is after like multiple listens. It still absolutely gets me, and I really enjoyed that about it. I think that um, her sheer voice just kind of just took me back. So really enjoyed that, and I think that this one is just another solid effort on their part. So we'll move it into track number 6, which is Guard Dog. This one is my favorite. I like how it starts off a bit eerie and almost kind of dark a little bit, and then it goes back to the sort of happy vibes, which I think is really odd, but I think it works absolutely. So really enjoyed that. And then the chorus just has those happy sort of bouncy vibes to it, which I really enjoy. And I think after the first chorus, I think the track absolutely just picks up and just catches steam. I think the chorus is absolutely catchy as hell, at least in my opinion. Really like the bass solo in the bridge. I like that Terrence gets his own little spot, I would say. I think he has his own little spots throughout the record, but I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the vocal layering in the bridge as well. I think that's really solid, and those are the reasons why I think that this one is one of my favorites as well. So we'll move into track number 7, which is Fine. Really liking Johnny's backing vocals, and then just Emily adding that sort of octave up to Johnny. I think that just works very well. Just the harmonization between the two of them just meshes very well. I think that's going to be just a common thread throughout this record. I think that this one just grooves really hard, and as I said, this chorus just is just damn catchy. Just the whole track is just freaking catchy. So really enjoy that. Again, the back and forth between Emily and Johnny, I've stressed it so many times, but I think it's something important to mention. I think that they just pair very well together. So really enjoy that. The additional electronics just adds this sort of depth to the track that I felt like if you took them out, they would just feel bare bones. So I really enjoyed that element to it. And I can also see this song absolutely being on the radio. It just has this sort of radio vibe to it, but as well as it just sounds great. So certainly I could see Fine being on the radio without a doubt. So we'll move it into track number 8, which is Circle. Another one of my favorite tracks. I really liking the electronic and guitar intro. I think that is just a cool I can say words combination. Really enjoyed that. The harmonies are just absolutely on point in my opinion. And I think they just add this sort of additional layering that it was just needed in this track. I also feel like just the addition of other layering, especially in the chorus section, are just absolutely needed as well. Just I think the production value on a lot of these tracks have just been stellar. So I really enjoy that. Emily's vocals have just been insane. I think she is just an absolutely killer vocalist. And I'm excited to see what they do. But just the way she just controls her voice, like I said, she can get really aggressive with how she does it, and but she can also be really soft with how she like just maybe enunciates something, or just how she words it. So I really think that that is a big key component of why I think her vocals are really powerful and why I really enjoy them. But I also feel like just in this song in particular, I feel like it just it shows that great balance between the two. So really enjoy that. And the bridge in this track is absolutely killer. I love the bridge in this track for sure. So we'll move into track number 9, which is All I Have. I really like the cool guitar intro. I think it's definitely something that I lean more towards. And um, while to me this album comes in more of an unconventional manner as opposed to albums that I've either done or albums I've listened to, this one just takes a little bit of a different spin on it. So just adding those sort of things that I'm used to, and something that I obviously grow to love. I think that that's definitely cool in that regard. But adding some of those elements, electronic elements to the track that just otherwise I wouldn't be interested in. I think that they just meshed it very well together, so it doesn't seem that they're alienating people who like just maybe traditional music versus this style of music. But I like that this song is a little bit tender, more softer, in the slow side, and just the depth of this track is just phenomenal. It just has this depth to it. It just literally, I think it's vocals and piano, and it just feels very stripped down. Probably the most stripped down track on the record, and it just adds another sort of style to their arsenal. They really have mixed a lot of different genres between like pop, indie, even rock in some places. So definitely those mix of those two genres, maybe even like alternatives kind of as well. But I also like the electronic elements as well. While they are dampened, I would say they still add this sort of ambience, this sort of etherealness to the track, which I enjoy. And I feel like this track, as opposed to a lot of other tracks off this record, just has this sort of vulnerability to it. It just has this just strip. Obviously, it's very stripped down, but I just the vocals are also stripped down too. It just feels very vulnerable. It feels very emotional. So I would definitely say that this is a great track. While it isn't my favorite, it definitely pulls at those emotional heartstrings. So we'll move it into track number 10, which is the last track off the record, Young Warrior. Another one of my favorite tracks off this record. Really loving the electronic intro. I think they just have absolutely been killing it with the layers and just the overall etherealness of the tracks in general. I just think they add this sort of element that I've been kind of craving. So I really enjoy that. I think the synth choices throughout this record have just been on point. Just they aren't too much. They aren't overbearing. They just add this sort of ambience and this sort of fullness to these tracks. So I really enjoy that. This one definitely has this sort of anthematic feel to it, especially in the chorus, which I really enjoy. I think they definitely needed a song to end the high note on, and they absolutely are. And then just Emily just has proven that her range has just been mind blowing. And I'm not trying to say that just to be like, oh, you're saying something good. I mean, absolutely, probably one of the most incredible ranges I've heard in a good while, especially in this sort of genre of music, where there are a lot of singers. I think this one definitely has a special place in my heart, certainly. So I really enjoy that. I love those high notes. She just hits them with such conviction, especially in this track. But a lot of tracks, I would even say the track before this, All I Have. I think that these just have this conviction, this pull to it, just this emotion to attach to it, which I really enjoy. I also enjoy the additional layering of Johnny's vocals. I think it just adds another just depth to the track, adds some more fullness to it as well. I think it's definitely a great track to end on. It just encompasses what Lilac Lungs is and what they, hope to accomplish, I would say, on this record, absolutely. And then I like at the end they had this sort of I don't know. It's kind of like this back. I don't even know what the word for it is. It's got like this sort of distant vocals where you just hear Emily just, I guess, singing from like really far away. But you can just kind of hear it towards like the end of the track. And I think it just kind of, it was just like a cool little ending piece that they decided to keep in, for sure. And I just think that this record overall was just a unique experience. It's definitely a unique record for sure. So if you're looking for an eclectic album, I would absolutely say check this one out. So I'm gonna move into the pros and cons of this record. Some pros. I think it's unique as hell. I honestly, I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't believe it. But I think it's definitely an album that I personally I wouldn't have even listened to prior to just getting it. But I don't know if I could live without a record like this. I really enjoyed it. It just has this sort of pull to it um, that a lot of records do have, but I felt like this one just has a special pull to it, and just meeting them and stuff like that sure added a little bit of substance to that as well. But this track is definitely unique. If you're looking for a unique, just sonic experience, I would definitely check this record out for sure. But I don't think I honestly have any cons. Some songs I felt like maybe needs some fine tuning, but other than that, it's really up to preference. I think if you definitely like electronic sort of music, you'll find stuff that you like in here. If you like radio pop, I feel like there will be stuff in here that you'll like. If you like sort of indie-ish stuff, I feel like this band definitely has that sort of indie influence as well. It just really has a whole host of different genres, and I think it's not one faceted. And I think that's what I like about it. It's very diverse. There are tracks that will speak to you, and there are tracks that won't. So definitely check it out. I will leave a pre-order link in the description. Definitely pre-order if you can. Go support these guys. I will definitely be picking it up soon, so I can have it and be stoked on it as well. I'm absolutely thrilled to have it in my collection. So definitely check these guys out. Also check out our interview if you haven't already. I thought it was a great time. It was certainly fun. And I hope to see them around here soon. So my overall rating for Lilac Lungs Eventide record, I'm going to be giving it a 9.1 out of 10. I think it was absolutely a solid record, considering that I had never heard of them before. I'd never heard what type of sound that they had, what type of music they make, but prior to, sending them a message. So I actually found out about them on a Seraphim video. So I am really stoked that I actually gave them a listen, gave them a check out. So I highly recommend that you check them out. Check out my friends in Lilac Lungs. They're absolutely killer. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the singles. And when the record comes out, certainly come back and let me know your overall thoughts on the records. Do you think I was right? Do you think I was wrong? Definitely let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation about it, certainly. And thank you again to Catalyst Publicity Group, as well as thank you to Lilac Lungs. Thank you for letting me review your record. Certainly a pleasure. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also make sure that hit that like button. And if you enjoy us a lot, we have a link in the description where you can pick up some merch. That would certainly be a blessing if you could pick that up. And thank you guys for your immense support. We have some really awesome things coming in the future, so be on the lookout for that. So my name is Brandon, and we hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.